Good morning, Vietnam! Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Today we are talking about my travels in Vietnam and what the 5 best things were. I will start by saying I went to Hanoi, I landed in Hanoi, then we went over to Haiphong, which is a very small city with barely any tourists, got a ferry over to Cat Bar Island, headed up north to Halong Bay, a World Heritage Site, a natural landscape that is very famous and many people all around the world go to see. And then from there, we got a flight on a tiny plane with barely any people down to Ho Chi Minh City to fly back up to Hanoi to go back to London. Now to start off with point number 5, we're going to go for food. Now if you know anything about Anthony Bourdain, the legendary chef, he literally loved Vietnam. It was basically his favorite country. That was mainly because of 2 things, the cuisine and something else that I will get into later into this video. But we're starting with the food. The food is incredible. Now, I can't pronounce half the names or even 100% of the names on the menus in Vietnamese restaurants in the UK. Never mind in Vietnam where you have way more diversity. But it is absolutely phenomenal. The diversity, the different proteins they use, and the hot pots are just out of this world. I spoke to many locals when I was in Vietnam about what they eat, about what they use, about what they put in the hot pots, and it is literally everything. They have no limitations. They eat rats, they eat scorpions if they can find them, even if they're not native. They'll eat any fish, any protein, and they will just season the living hell out of it and make it taste good, regardless of what it is. It's not really about the quality of the meat itself, like a rump steak. It's more about the quality of the seasoning, the spices, and the flavor added to it by the Vietnamese people. The Vietnamese people will literally make sure you're full. If they see you sitting down in their restaurant on those tiny little plastic stools, which by the way, when you are 100+ kilo and 6'6", it doesn't really work. But somehow they still make you feel welcome and they still make sure your belly is full. The food was amazing. You got to try the seafood hot pot as well as the regular hot pot. We did this in a very rural part of Vietnam where again, there weren't really any tourists, and that's kind of how I like it a lot of the time because you get to immerse yourself in real culture, but the food was top notch. Right, on to the 4th point, the people, the one that I was going to mention earlier. The people are one of the reasons why so many people come to Vietnam. It's one of the main reasons Anthony Bourdain came to Vietnam. The people are fantastic. They're lovely. And unlike Thailand, they don't all speak English. They've had French colonial rule. They've had the Americans invade, but they are still so polite to every single person that comes into the country, and they don't speak English, which emphasizes how polite they are because you can get this through literal emotions, body language, communication without actually speaking the same language as somebody, but you can tell how friendly they are, and they will use their hands, they will use signaling to tell you what they're feeling, what you should get, what you should order, and the Vietnamese people just want to help you. It is truly one of the most helpful countries in the world, and unlike Thailand, they're not really fed up with the tourism. There's a good balance of tourism in Vietnam. It hasn't plagued every single city and every single area. And it does also fund areas like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh to a massive degree. So they're very appreciative of tourists and they want you to be there. And it's not like in Thailand where some people are pretending to like the people that are coming over, especially in places like Phuket that are absolutely trashed. Vietnam doesn't really have many places like that. Don't get me wrong, you still have some expat communities, and I would personally avoid them. That's my personal opinion. But Vietnam still has that real culture, that authenticity, and the nicest people you're ever gonna meet. The 3rd point is the landscapes. It's the most rich and diverse nation when it comes to its nature in the entirety of Southeast Asia, with the longest coastline within the region. And this means the north and the south are 2 completely different places. People talk about Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, the 2 major cities, Hanoi being the capital. Hanoi is right up in the north. Many people land in Hanoi, and Hanoi is fantastic, but it is very cold compared to the south. The south is much more like Thailand. You get those tropical trees, you get massive plants around you, you get incredible tropical lifestyle. But then in the north, it's a bit more hustle and bustle. It basically reminded me of an Asian London. It literally did. It had the same kind of vibe. And also something I noticed about Vietnam is that the roads barely had any potholes. When I was in Thailand, the roads had so many potholes. In Vietnam, it was quite rare to find. We went to the monkey location in Cat Bar Island with an endemic monkey species, and the nature was just fantastic. We were going out of a fishing village and I saw something pretty incredible, which I actually made a TikTok video about. And it was a guy fishing off a surfboard with a plastic chair attached to the surfboard, hand lining, not even using a rod and reel. It was pretty fantastic. And I have to say, that was one of the coolest things I saw on that island, which again, had no tourists at all. It was very, very cool to see. So the nature's incredible, especially if you go to Halong, which is the place we went to afterwards. You've got incredible scenery around you. You can get a yacht cruise, which is what most people do. They do 1 or 2 days on a yacht and they go around and they see this beautiful sight that is very, very rare to see. And it's the kind of stuff you see on your desktop saver or on your background screen on the TV. Then in Ho Chi Minh, you've got the fishing park outside of Ho Chi Minh, which is absolutely fantastic. Me and my friend spent 3 days there and caught loads of these fish called bassa, as you'll find them in the supermarkets, but in reality, they're called Mekong catfish or Vietnamese catfish. And my friend caught one of the biggest ones in the entire lake. I also caught a big one, but he caught a 44-kilo monster. That's nearly 100 pounds for you Americans. But yeah, incredible. Ho Chi Minh has a lot of the tropical vibe, the nature vibe. Hanoi doesn't really have a nature vibe. It has the major river running through it. But overall, I would say you need to go to Halong for the nature, Ho Chi Minh for the nature, and Cat Ba Island. Those 3 places were fantastic for nature. Then for the penultimate point is its affordability. It is fantastic. It is probably the best bang for buck in Southeast Asia that I've experienced so far. Thailand is also affordable and you have loads of accessibility, which is a massive advantage to Thailand. But Vietnam has incredible accessibility. You can literally get Grab from A to B, literally from city to city. And I did that many, many times. I did it from Hanoi to Haiphong, and it is just absolutely easy, affordable, and much cheaper than Thailand. But the word cheap can be misinterpreted a little bit. I actually prefer to say affordable because it's about value for money, and cheap kind of demeans the place a little bit. But it's definitely more affordable across the entire country. If you want to get motorbikes, they're affordable. If you want to get transport, it is so much more affordable than other parts of the world. And if you want food, oh my gosh, that's where it is just the best bang for your buck. Pound for pound, one of the best places in the world to spend your money on food. And basically any other service will be more affordable than any neighboring country. It is fantastic and it is catered to the tourist needs without being too much. And also because not too many tourists are in every single area at all times, you can go to local places, rural places, places that are family run, and get an amazing meal for literally half the price of what it would be in the major areas, which is still affordable. And finally, one of the most amazing things about Vietnam, which unfortunately I didn't actually do too much of, and if I go back, when I go back, I will do much more of, is seeing the historical sites, seeing the temples, seeing the effect of the war on a place like Ho Chi Minh, otherwise known as Saigon. And obviously, the whole of Vietnam was also massively affected by that. They were also massively imprisoned by the French. I went to many museums that actually exemplified this and showed the Vietnamese struggle within their own country and how the Vietnamese have been one of the most diplomatic countries, yet the most invaded. And this is the thing, they had beef with the French, they had beef with China, they had beef with the US. But it doesn't matter where you're from as a tourist, you can come to Vietnam and they are so welcoming and they have no hostility towards you. And you cannot say that about a lot of places. But go see the temples. There are some incredible Buddhist temples. Also, different religions reside in Vietnam. It's one of the most friendly environments for different religions. It literally does not matter what you are. You can walk around showing, the cross. You can show the sign of Islam. You can show whatever you want and nobody has an issue at all. Everybody is happy for you to celebrate what you celebrate. And they even have communities in Vietnam where different religions come together and actually pray together. They come into these communities and they literally celebrate their religions differently together. I think that is absolutely incredible. And I've never seen it in my life before, apart from in Vietnam. But there are so many historical sites to go and see, especially in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. It's definitely something that's worth doing, and going into the Vietnamese tunnels underground. And I wouldn't do that because of my size. I just would not get into those tunnels and my claustrophobia. But a lot of people would. And for me, the pyramids in Egypt were claustrophobic enough. Never mind those tiny little 3-foot holes under the ground. You can see how clever it is and how intelligently designed it is. The Vietnamese are very smart people and always have been. They also care a lot about their fashion, especially in the capital. But there you go. That is my official ranking of Vietnam as a place, one of my favorite places on the entire planet, probably the country that surprised me most on my solo traveling efforts. And I have to say, it's a must do. It's the best country in Southeast Asia, in my honest opinion, and I recommend it to absolutely anybody, whether you're solo traveling with friends or with family. It's a must do. And please like and subscribe this video because we have so much content coming out and I do not want you to miss it. So make sure you put that post notifications bell on, as well as we have content coming out of Slovenia, out of Jamaica, and out of Turkey, and many more countries just for your viewing. So please subscribe and I'll see you next time.